Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. When coming into contact with a great sage, such as Sri Ramana Maharshi, there are certain characteristics which become obvious over time, sometimes immediately, in the presence of such a being. And these characteristics are pretty uniform across the tradition of Vedanta and Advaita, the qualities of the Jnani. And these are described as presence, open space, love, compassion, clarity. These qualities can be felt even in the presence of difficulty in the mind of the devotee or the person who comes to the ashram or encounters the sage somewhere else. And these characteristics are felt even after the body of the sage has gone. Because the sage is not the body. The Jnani is not the body. The Jnani is the open space of the heart. That recognition of the self as being, consciousness, that which you are. Sitting in the presence of the Jnani, your troubles fall away to some degree or completely. And you feel in some way this presence of peace, of love, of clarity. You begin slowly to fall into this open heart, which is the Jnani. But most of us don't have the ability to spend years and years in the presence of such a being. But by coming to the presence of a Jnani, you begin to know about these qualities. And through sitting in the presence of the Jnani, you begin to experience them within yourself. To become familiar with what being in that space all the time might feel like. This is the space of satsang, the space of the heart. the qualities which you yourself possess to some degree. And you know this because you can recognize them. When you come into the presence of peace, you become peace. That is not someone else's peace. That is yours. It's just being pointed out to you. When you come into the presence of love, you know love. Not someone else's love. Your love. That's being pointed out to you. By presence. But the question arises a lot in conversations with you all. How do I know that I'm going in the right direction when I'm not sitting in satsang? You ask yourself, what am I experiencing in this moment? Is there peace? A certain serenity? And I'm not talking about your behavior. Behavior is behavior. Moving through the world is moving through the world. It has its ups and downs, doesn't it? But what's the inner state? Is there peace within you on some deep level? A sense of clarity? Even if on the surface there's confusion? If you notice throughout your day what is here now, the experience as you begin to mature in your sadhana is almost as though there are two yous, one on the surface that may be operating according to old habits, old ways of thinking, old uncertainties, and the other, which seems to be possessed of some stillness, some clarity, some being. While on the surface, the doer keeps doing. When you're in this phase, it's a transitional phase, I will say. So have faith. It is a transitional phase. When you are in this phase, check in with yourself frequently. Is there a sense of deep peace, of clarity? Is there this sense of presence? Are you aware? Do you know you are aware? Check in. Know that all of these qualities of the yoni, or the sage, these qualities of divine love, presence, being, clarity, knowing, not knowledge, knowing. These are the deep qualities within your own being. If you can see that these qualities are present, relax, rest, receive, and accept this deep knowing. If not, if what you see is restlessness, confusion, uncertainty, self-doubt, a mind which is comparing, analyzing, judging, has opinions about you and nearly everything else. Then it's time to begin to ask yourself, how can I use this tendency within myself to come toward this presence which I feel is here and is vibrant and alive when I'm in satsang? How can I feel this? Just the simple recollection that you are not the confusion, the doubt, the uncertainty, that's so on that's on the surface will cause you to immediately plunge beyond them, back into the space of awareness, which is peaceful and calm, present and aware in this moment. Having reestablished yourself in this place, in the presence of the yoni, in the presence of the heart, rest here. Use your experience, the guidance of the yoni, the guidance of the teacher, is very helpful and very useful, but only when you apply it. The yoni can point out to you the way of being, consciousness, but the only one can say, who can know this moment, this awareness, this will lead me to self-knowledge. This will not lead me to self-knowledge. The only one who can discriminate between whether your behavior, your thoughts, your attitudes, your opinions are leading you deeply into the heart of being, or leading you astray into the world, into chaos, into seeking. The only one who can know this is you. In the path of bhakti, it's said you can put whatever difficulty you are having down at the feet of the Lord. Surrender. Be here. Be in the presence of being, consciousness. Give everything to Arunachala. Give everything to the Supreme Lord, and all will be well. In order to speed this process up, be clear about what you're putting down. That doesn't mean think about it for a long time. Just know, in this moment, there is happiness present, there is clarity present, there is love present. All is well, and rest. Or, no, there is doubt, there is fear, there is anger. That is present here now. Not important where it came from, why, what the karmic debt is. Just put it down. The bhakta says put it down. The yoni says don't touch it. This is the same instruction. Recognizing following this path in the mind, this path in the heart, this path in the sadhana leads to greater peace, greater happiness, even if it's only momentary. greater understanding, which is beyond the mind. And this path leads to confusion, doubt, upset, turmoil. This leads away from happiness, away from being. It sets me seeking in the world to satisfy some urge. So I won't go that way now. To have this kind of discrimination is essential in your sadhana. Otherwise, some instruction that you hear in satsang will release in you a fierce seeking in the world. Part of the reason I'm talking about this today, pointing this out to you, is because someone recently, in the past week or so, sent me a message and said that you said thus and such in satsang. This was 6 months or so ago. You said thus and such, and this is what happened. And she went on to explain chaos, fear, running, restlessness, seeking in the world. She said, I don't think that's your teaching is correct. And I simply asked her, you cannot distinguish between right and wrong. You cannot distinguish between happiness and pain. Why are you listening to anything that your mind is telling you, whether you think I said it or not? You cannot distinguish between happiness and pain. You are following the path of pain. You are following the, as Eckhart Tolle would say, you are following the pain body. You're not following the teaching. She said, yes, but you said that we have to trust everything and then dance our dance. I said, yes, but you have to know what steps you're doing. You have to know what dance you're doing. Are you doing the dance of pain? Or are you doing the dance of self-realization and self-recognition? Don't mistake one for the other. So slowly, she began to realize that this attempt, that she had once again fallen into the attempt to find happiness in the world through activity, through relationship, through travel, through on and on and on, to the point of exhaustion, to where listening to her on the phone, I could tell that she was physically ill. And she said, yes, I've been ill for the last couple of months. And I said, so what are you doing? She said, I don't know, I think I'm going home. I think I'm just going to go stop. Good. This is that sense of discrimination that tells us this is leading me into the path of pain. And this is leading me into the heart of being. So this faculty of discrimination becomes very, very important. Because you know, most of you are only going to be able to sit here with me for a short period of time. Then you will have to go back to your country, to your home, to your work, to your life. And you will need to know, how is it that I know whether I'm on the right path or not? Whether I'm staying true, trusting the teachings of Sri Ramana, Yogi Ram Sarat Kumar, Ananda Moyi Ma, whoever resonates with you. You know, because you examine your own experience and you know that you are increasing in the characteristics of the yani, of the bhakta, or you are continuing to pursue chaos in the world, in your relationships, seeking experiences which, while satisfying for a moment, and this can be an experience in the mind, a fantasy in the heart, an experience in the world. But these fantasies run out, don't they? And we find ourselves right back where we started, with an extra added dose of pain on top. So now, you have a way. Develop this capacity to discriminate and to feel your own heart. When you feel love, compassion for yourself, clarity, the end of self-judgment, for oneself and for others. Now you are maturing on the way. Rest even as you keep going. And know when you've stepped off the path. The pathless path, right? You know, we don't really promote practices here. We agree with them if you are doing them. We don't disagree. Whatever practices you feel moved to do, you do. But here, I speak more about the pathless path. This is the path of being alone, being only. Just this presence which you are, and which you experience when you ask, am I aware? And you hear this voice inside the heart go, yes. You know this with certainty. I am here. When you know this, you are on the pathless path. Nowhere to go, nothing to do, no one to be. But today, I encourage you to know when you've stepped off the pathless path and come back to this moment. To this awareness, so that this awareness itself can do the work that you have come here to hear about.
Can I ask? Actually, I had this question even before you began to speak.
It was your mind I was hearing.
A little bit, maybe yes, because this is interconnected topic.
Yes.
What about decision making? Sometimes it seems that until the decision comes, there is this restlessness, that as if I have to do this choice in between, like to decide one way or the other.
Understand that this restlessness, the cause of this restlessness is this belief that I have to do this decision in order to get this solved. That is the source of restlessness. Yes? So, is it going to work?
I don't know. Sometimes
You don't have experience with it?
in practical things, yes. If I just buy the plane ticket, for example, I am confused whether to go there or there, and many thinking, and then I buy the ticket and it stops and the question finished.
Why do you love this activity so much? Have you ever asked yourself that? Why do I love this activity? This decision-making process?
Maybe because there is then imagination that I am in control.
Maybe. And maybe some small element of going there, you will get something that you don't have here. Who knows? You know. Have you ever asked yourself, why am I doing this? What is the point of this? Or have you not grown weary of it yet? you still enjoy this decision-making process, so you find things to make decisions about.
That's a good question. I never asked about enjoyment. I thought, oh, I'm suffering because of that, not enjoying it.
Mm. Anytime that we continue a behavior, this is just a behavior. Understand, this is not you. We're speaking to the self now. Self to self. We're not speaking about the behavior. Anytime there is a behavior which we somehow feel perpetuates itself, and maybe we feel like we would like to stop it, but we can't. It's good to ask ourselves, what am I gaining from this behavior? What is the root of this? What is happening here that's beyond me just saying, I'm bored here and I want to go there? That's true in some cases. I'm bored here and I want to go there. Or I'm here and my guru is there, so I will go there in order to be in her presence. I will do that. In his presence, I will go there. This is one thing. But when it becomes, as is the case of the example I was giving before, the friend who contacted me, that she has been traveling for many, many months and wanted to stop months ago and found herself unable to do that. She was just like, oh, I have to go here, I have to go there, I need to go there, I need to go to Varanasi, I need to go blah, blah, until she's exhausted and sick from traveling in India for 4 months, non-stop. So to ask oneself, what is it that I'm gaining from this, even though it's disturbing the heart of being, it's disturbing to the natural peace of presence, even though it's disturbing the sadhana.
I guess there is a kind of play between being strong and being very weak. Kind of like at one point, one side is that I'm in control because I can make decision, I can lead my life, and another is like if it all fails, then I am weak, I cannot do anything, I am hopeless, I am what else? I am not loved.
Yes. You need to ask yourself, whose decision is it anyway?
Actually, I am sad now about love, and just the vision of my father came to my mind. Might be even so that he wanted me to do something to be loved.
Very good. So you come here so I can say do nothing. You are already loved. You are love itself. In order to be loved, we have to love. We have to know that with all the highs and lows, all the ups and downs of life, no matter what, know you are the presence of love. And love unconditionally, but not looking for something or someone. Rather, love unconditionally. This is the Supreme Lord, all of this. If this is only the Supreme, it's easy to love. And there is nothing but love. Now there's no more need to seek. No more need to get. No more need to find. This love, which you are so drawn to, is coming from within your own heart. Find it. This is the whole point of the inquiry. Return to the source. You know this presence. I see it on your face. You don't need to get it. You need to be it. You are it. begin by being kinder to yourself, whether you are strong or you are weak. Personally, I find it much more useful to be inclined toward that weaker side. This makes it possible to say, "Thy will be done, not mine. You look after this." This is a good bhakti place to be, huh? Surrender.
The thing is, I don't want to be strong anymore. That's why
Very
I
good.
abandoned my job.
Very good.
I don't want to be this carrier woman, and I feel that this is, as you said before, that it leads to the pain.
Yes.
But this weakness, it seems that it's being stupid or something.
Yes, but this is just the mind. This is just cultural conditioning that's telling you that to be weak is stupid or whatever. This is just cultural conditioning. This is the reason why I'm pointing toward knowing between what moves you toward happiness and what moves you toward pain. To call what you perceive, understand this is just a concept, to call what you perceive weakness and then to call it stupid or say it doesn't feel good is to move in the direction of pain. It is to say that which I am, that which I experience does not have value. It is, I need to judge it. I need to push it away. Well, in order to know that your weakness is for you a problem, you have to first grab it. You have to say, this is my weakness. And then you have to make all of these decisions, conceptual decisions, perceptions, opinions.
Yes, because I'm stupid that I cannot make this choice.
Don't make any choice. Then are you stupid? Don't make the choice that you're stupid. Start there. Really. Make the choice to know that you are being. You are the self. If you're going to take a risk on any thought, on any concept, make it that you are the self. Not that you are stupid. This is the point of discrimination. To know I am, even just conceptually, that I am the self, I am being, consciousness and bliss. To know this, even when the mind doesn't quite believe it or doesn't quite want it, or wants to reject it even, to know this is still to go in the direction of happiness. To go in the direction of I am stupid, I am weak, blah, 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 the voice of the Father, if that's where that came from, is just to go in the direction of pain. That's what you've already proven to yourself. That's why you're here. That's why you left your job. You're coming to India. You are looking for something. You already know that that's the path of pain. Okay, so now you've eliminated all of that in relation to the world, which you've now left, but you're still carrying it in your mind and heart. So now the next step is you have to put it down here. Put it down here. Right now in Tiruvannamalai, here, in Satsang. Put it down. Finish it. You are the self. If you're going to delude yourself, go in the direction of truth, because this is the only way you will see through the delusion of you are weak, unloved, that you need something. You have come to the holy feet of Arunachala to hear that you are being, consciousness, and your nature is bliss. Go in that direction. Set yourself free.
actually also have a question.
Oh, you're not just holding the mic. Okay.
No, apparently not. It's related to what she's saying, but in a different way. As you know, at this moment, my nervous system is like hyper sensitive. And I do see the ability of the mind wanting to have that movement. So not so much of gaining something, wanting something, desiring something, but more as movement by itself. So I do wonder, because being a super Pitta, I do have a very active mind, although it's not, I don't identify with it much. But it keeps me moving and it keeps me in some kind of action. So in this way I relate to her question. And I thought just to put it out in front of you to see if there's something that you want to share with me about that.
Yes. This is there are two apparent, and I say apparent, states of being in the human condition. One is stillness and one is movement. So this play, if you will, between stillness and movement is quite a natural thing. But it does become necessary to begin to distinguish between movement, which is movement for movement's sake, or restlessness. This is what this is referred to, as restlessness, which is in the mind. And movement which is in service to this higher good, you can say, or to your awakening, right? This is what we're talking about here this morning, is to be able to discriminate in terms of when we see, or when we witness, or when we observe certain kinds of behaviors or certain kinds of activities in the mind. To be able to distinguish, this is moving, allowing this kind of activity, this activity that's movement based in restlessness, is this going to lead me to truth? Is it going to lead me to a deeper understanding, a deeper recognition of who I am? Or is it simply driving me out in the world so that I can just go out and move around in the restlessness of the world, which is also very attractive. But there is this moment where we see through all of that and we come to understand there is nothing in this movement which is going to satisfy this longing that I have to know myself. So I'm not willing anymore to continue. I'm not willing, and so for you, because you know this is such a natural part of your being, this is such a natural part of being here, it may become, it is probably necessary for you to understand that for you, the simple not complying with this with restlessness, the simple not engaging in this outward movement is a serious and challenging and will be very rewarding tapas, but it will not be easy. So then it becomes necessary for you to admit and acknowledge, and it sounds like you are, it sounds like that's kind of where you're at, is you are acknowledging that this natural movement is for me to go out, but my nervous system is upset now, and my physical body is not really wanting to keep up with my mind. So now, let the physical body be your guide. And this is really difficult for someone who's a super Pitta, right? This can be really challenging because the body is saying do nothing and the mind is saying do something. Usually it's saying do anything. Don't just sit here, right? Which is what the body's saying, or lay here. Don't just lay here. But that needs to be what happens now. And so to understand that you can allow the mind to tell whatever stories it's telling, you can allow it to have whatever thoughts it's having, but you remain in the position of the observer of those thoughts, the witness of those thoughts, not the doer, not the actor. That the movement, the effort, if you will, becomes just to allow that movement to move through the mind without engaging in it, right? Then this becomes a powerful tapas, a powerful cleansing agent. The question for you will be, how much of that to do at a time before you engage the mind in its movement capacity and say, but keep the movement simple so that you maintain this position of the observer or the position of the witness. So allow yourself to go for a walk, but a walk without a goal.
That's it. Like it's in a way like either it being the Ramana ashram or seva here or.
There's always a goal.
There's always a goal. Seems to be
Yes.
behind it. Like the resting in the nothing. That's absolutely fine when the body is fatigued. And it also feels like this is just a new play because the mind was very, very quiet, not giving any movement at all. And now it's just become like a lot of movement, but it is noticeable as tendencies from the past.
Yes,
for sure.
well, this is what I mean by the mind. You say the mind became very quiet, and then suddenly this is why I'm saying that for a super pita, this is an intense tapas. Okay? So just remain as still as possible in this witness position while these waves come and go with the mind. Stay with this. Don't lose hope. It's a transitional phase. It's passing. In the same way that earlier silence seems to have passed now, this will also pass. And what will happen is when you come back to stillness, through remaining as the witness, as that which is aware of this restlessness, this thinking, this movement, remain here, now, as this awareness itself, witnessing this, observing this. And then when the peace comes again, when the stillness comes again, you will notice that it's at a whole nother level. Because the tapas will have purified. So when I say the tapas will have purified, what I mean is the awareness, the observation, this knowing that that which is aware is here now, is observing this, and is unmoved by it. This is the tapas of purification. So just continue. Keep the faith. Yes? Yes. Okay.
Thank you. So my question is also related to that, what you talked before. For me, the last days have been very beautiful. I could recognize the truth very long. Some trigger came and go, thoughts come and go. It was very nice. And I even could see suddenly that's an illusion around me. Mm-hmm. But then, yesterday something hit me very strongly. So an old existential fear came up. And my whole nervous system just started to get into fear, yes. And I'm still in. Yes. And then it's not possible just to be and just to relax and just, also if I try, I could see that actually, and I try to just let the feeling come and just be with it. But even this is not working out. So the question is if something very strong...
So the idea is not to be with it, because when you be with it, you become it. And that's what's happening for you. Mm. Right? The pointer is be aware of it, not be with it. Because if you say be with it, You are saying, I am with something I believe to be true. Okay? So this is very difficult. When these strong fears and such come up like this is very, very difficult to be. It can, like you say, it can unravel days of peace. Understand the strength of the identification that's happened. You said it was an old fear?
Yeah, I can see
Existential
totally.
fear?
Yeah, I can see the identification totally,
Yeah.
but still I can see it. I'm totally into it.
Yeah, you are totally into it. So you need to know that and come back out of it in some way, right? So how can you do that?
Exactly, that's the question.
If I say to you, if I ask you, are you aware here now?
Yes.
If you are completely and totally here now, where is this fear? Don't go back into your mind. I saw you. Don't do that. Here. Now. Nothing else. In here now, there is no past, no future. These are in the mind. Here, now. Are you aware?
Yes.
Where is the fear? Don't use your mind.
The mind is quick at the moment.
Yes, the mind is quick, but if I ask you, are you aware? How long did it take you to say yes?
It's not, it's
Yes.
immediately.
Very quick, very quick. So in between, understand right now, this is the pointer for you. There is a gap between am I aware and yes. Right? Even though you say it's very quick, there is a gap. In that gap, that fear, you can look for that fear in that gap and you won't find it. Because only thing that's in that gap is pure awareness, pure consciousness. Are you aware?
Yes.
Yes. In that gap, short as it is, there is only pure consciousness. That's why immediately the answer comes yes. There's only this knowing, which is another name for pure consciousness. There's only this knowing. Are you aware? Yes. Pure knowing. In that knowing, you not only have no interest in fear, there's no need for it. Everything that comes after that you're describing as this fear, which is related to some past memory or some karmic debt of some sort, is simply not present in this yes. It is not there. So make this your refuge. So as you feel this presence of this fear, you are standing in it. You are simply aware of it. This is fear. This is fear. Know that this is fear. And ask yourself, am I aware of this? Yes. Stop. Bhagavan said, the mind is like a castle.
Like a castle.
A castle. Inside, there are 1,000 troops, 1,000 beings, 1,000 soldiers, right? Inside there are 1,000 soldiers. There are 10,000 soldiers. Our task is to remain as this recognition, yes, as the witness, as being, consciousness, as the self, and each soldier, as it comes out of the gate of the castle, we cut it. And we do this until no more soldiers come out of the castle. Now, so this is what fear does for us. Fear brings us into direct confrontation with the deepest sense of who I think I am as a person. And the remedy is to realize I am the self. I am not this. So as each soldier, each moment of fear steps forward, do nothing. But remember, that which is aware is here now and is observing this. I cannot be what I can see. You know, this is a basic tenet of the way that a mind works, is that what you can see, you cannot be. Mm. And when you are purely in being, whatever you see, you know immediately, I am not that. So keep coming back, keep observing. This is a moment of tapas for you. So this means you have to come, this is where you bring together discrimination, determination, will, and sadhana. You bring them together and you apply them right here at this moment of deep fear. And you are not suppressing it, you are not doing a spiritual bypass, you are standing in it, but you are also realizing in that moment, it is not real. What is real is being, consciousness, awareness, the self. This is what is real. That which is seeing this is what is real. Seeing it, it cannot be it. Okay?
Thank you.
Increase your effort in some way now at this point. And then know when this wave has passed, come back to resting, back to being. You know, because the difficulty of these intense moments of fear, anxiety, anxiousness, is that when they really start to subside, we don't believe they are subsiding, so we sort of hang on to them. And that's another sense of fear, isn't it? That this will continue, that it hasn't fully gone away. So it is important to know, to see in a realistic way that that wave has passed. It's finished. Now, if you hold on to some residue of memory, then you hold on to that particular vasana, that particular tendency. So you must come to completely letting go of that wave when it passes. There's no residual energy around it, and now you are simply back. You're here as awareness itself. And the feeling of being awareness itself, of course, is self-love, self-compassion, self-understanding, right? So you're present in the peace and serenity of your own being, consciousness and bliss.
Thank you, Rishi.
Yeah, I can recognize a lot here.
I see a lot of heads bobbing.
I had the grace recently to be allowed to give some fear I felt I have always carried to the mountain. And what I've been left with is this part of me that have defended or dealt with this fear. It's become very active, and it's basically a clenching of the teeth that I always felt was needed to be me in the world.
Yes.
But not anymore.
Very good.
But what I realize is every time a thought is allowed to leave the castle without being caught, the clenching appears. So I can have moments where
Yes.
I'm totally in peace,
Yes.
and then I can have half a day where I can't find the sword that made my teeth clench, and it's still there the whole day.
Yes.
Even though I go back to the peace, it's like the defense system is just keeping the hold on.
Yes.
And actually, I'm asking because I can keep going back to seeing this.
So you are describing what I just described to her as residual,
Yeah,
right? All of these are residuals. They are just, this is a minor extension based on conditioning and the momentum of conditioning that is still going on, even having had the insight
yeah,
and put the fear down.
yeah.
So now, just understand that it's on its way out. Don't engage in it. Don't make it into the new problem.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just understand that it's momentum that's going. So how do I handle momentum of something in the past or some karmic debt? I handle momentum by staying here, by staying now, by asking this question, either who am I, or noticing I am that which is aware, or that which is aware is here now. And then this just allows this residual energy just to finally deplete itself at some point. Your task is to be patient while it depletes itself, not to believe it, the story it's trying to tell you.
I get that not to believe the story.
Yeah.
And I have some recent experience with this residual, like a lake, as that can calm down if you don't.
Yeah.
But I also find sometimes I engage with things and it's like I put a stick into it and now
Yeah, of course.
all the words- but-
It's really important to understand for all of us that what happens as we begin to become more and more attuned to our nature as it already is, and the veiling begins to fall away. It's really important to understand that this momentum, in one way or another, in one tendency or another, can continue for some period of time, right? And this is where patience and compassion toward oneself and all of that come in. So our effort goes in that direction rather than saying, I'm trying to seek enlightenment. No, we are saying I am already the self, and this is the veiling of the self by the momentum of conditioning. And because I see that and I recognize that, I cannot be that. So I am just in this moment of patience and spaciousness, as much as possible. It may not be perfect, just as much as possible.
That's what
I am letting go.
Go.
Live in an attitude of letting go, of returning to here now, in this moment, all is well.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to take it a little bit large because it takes a lot from many of these questions that have just been asked, and your answer, right? So about what you said, recognizing yourself as the self, and my question is actually about self-doubt, which is called...
Okay, let me
like
just,
this-
you hold that question, and I just want to make it clear to everyone
Yes.
that you are already the self, whether you recognize it or not. So this is what's being pointed to when I say you are the self,
Yes.
not something you need to become, or
Indeed.
something you need to do. Okay? So go ahead.
This is an idea for me, because
Okay.
it's not a full direct experience.
What is?
Comparing to when I read stories of saints, gurus, which had what they call self-realization experience,
Yes.
then it becomes an experience. For me, it's something that I can make a puzzle of all these pieces and say, that is probably true, but it will still not be experience, it will still be a story. And until it's a story, it feels like there is still going to be some self-doubt.
Yes.
And my
That's
question,
absolutely true. Yes.
my question is, shall I adopt, like you just said to him, patience and accept the fact that until certain level of maturity and experiences arrive, there will be a layer of self-doubt? Because I also remember last year when you shared about your experience that you had and then that brought you back here, you said there was no more self-doubt because in a way you had this experience. And so my question is, shall I accept this self-doubt even though I see that it brings me to act a little bit too much in the world and try to compensate? Or there is a, let's call it shortcut, there is a better strategy for it?
There is a better strategy for it, and that is, who sees this self-doubt?
what I am.
But you don't know that yet.
Indeed.
Hmm?
Indeed.
Indeed, yes. So, if the better strategy is to ask the question, what is aware of this, or who am I, this self-doubt that you're talking about, then why give any attention at all to what you're calling the experience of self-doubt? It doesn't exist. Until you give it importance, then it seems to exist. But if you meet it at the moment of observing it, and you say, I am not this, so if I think I am this, I need to ask the question, then who am I? If I am not this self-doubt, then who am I? Then this is the remedy.
In a way, I believe that this self-doubt brought me to, in the past, but even now, to a fear of defining myself.
Okay.
Which then I call self-doubt, because I'm like, I don't want my words, my behavior, my approach to define myself, because I don't know who I am. But it is related, I believe, to self-doubt, because if I would fully know that I'm the self, I would not care about exactly how I express, how I define myself, because I know that I'm not that, I'm not that, I'm not that.
Do you hear the fear?
Yes.
Do you want to go in the direction of fear and pain?
No.
Then what to do? If you know you don't want to go in that direction, then the best you can do is trust the teaching, trust the guidance
Yes.
that says, put that all down. You are not that. And ask the question, if I am not that, if I am the one who is thinking these thoughts, all of this about self-doubt and everything, where are these thoughts coming from? And who are these thoughts coming to? Right? This is just one way of doing it, but it's not important that you do this mentally. It's that you approach this whole idea, this whole conceptual, this whole experiential moment when you realize that self-doubt is here. It's not important that you ask a question. It's important that you put it down, realizing that the path, if you will, on which you're walking has told you, the saints and sages from thousands of millennia, from thousands of years have said to you, put it down, it's not true. Find out where the thoughts are coming from, where the thought about self-doubt is coming from. Put it down. Don't pursue it. Don't need to do anything with it. Don't need to change it. Don't need to understand it. Put it down and ask, what is true? If that's not true of me, if that's not who I am, show me the truth. What is true? Who am I? This is the most direct method. Other methods work. This is the most direct method.
Yeah. In a way, relating also to the question of before, I felt like there is a strong pull for me of finding a solution in the outer world. Through
Yes.
activity, through
Yes,
learning some things, through
yes,
developing some skills.
yes.
Whereas what you're proposing is a purely internal approach.
Not necessarily. If you have this particular vasana, this particular tendency, that I can solve some issues by pursuing some knowledge in the world and so on, you are free to go do that. Understand you are not doing it. Who is the doer? So you can still pursue the path of self-knowledge or self-recognition or self-realization within the framework of having this vasana, this tendency. This is not a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a bad vasana. I'm saying it's a tendency.
Yeah.
To want to learn something, to acquire knowledge in the world, to acquire some skill. If you acquire skill and knowledge as a me, that skill and knowledge will end up leading you deeper and deeper into suffering, and deeper into pain, deeper and deeper into identification.
Yes.
So, go ahead with the vasana, free yourself from the identification, all is well. This is what is meant by dance your dance. Dance your dance does not mean you go about satisfying every possible mental, emotional, and human desire in the world, trying to satisfy me. Dance your dance means you dance your dance as though no one is watching,
Yes.
as though you are absolutely free of any.
Because it could still be that part of my drive to engage in these external activities comes from a place of you are called to do these vasanas also to have this type of path or growth.
Yes, but understand that you're not in a position to know what the outcome of that is. You're trying to find justification for doing it. But you can also go out and get involved in a tendency or a vasana and be thinking, I am called to do this. And it'll be when you crash and burn, sometime after probably, if that happens, that you will realize that yes, you were being called to do it, to understand who you are not. And through understanding who you are not, to learn something about who you are. This is part of what I was trying to say earlier in the conversation I was having with this one friend, is you don't get to guarantee that because you tell yourself that what I'm doing out in the world or in my emotions is for a purpose, is for a higher good, is for... Yeah. If there is a higher good, and I'm skeptical about that, if there is a higher good, it will come through the silence of your own being, and it will unfold itself from the silence of your own being, not from what you're pursuing in the mind or the world. That is a tendency. Don't delude yourself. It's a tendency. With a tendency, there is no guarantee. Consequences are consequences. So you do your best, you try. In Buddhism, though, there's a common statement that says, do everything you need to do in your practice, in your daily life, and be prepared to fail over and over and over until you stop. So, is this a good outcome, or is this a bad outcome? If you realize your nature as self, and you realize your nature as that everything has Buddha nature, and that Buddha nature is always here, or however you say it, you are the self, you are being consciousness. If this is realized through this constant moving out in the world and failing in some way, and suffering, and coming back to silence, and coming back to an inner knowing rather than an external knowing, then have you succeeded? Even though it appeared that you failed?
No.
Huh?
Yes.
You have succeeded. This is also this inclination towards your weaker side. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You can, and I don't mean weaker in a judgment. I mean you can let yourself live. You can fully live. And eventually, you come to know what is the way to go, to open this heart, recognize this inner happiness, and then be that. And whether I move or not, whether I succeed or not, it's not relevant to anything. Makes no difference. I have eliminated doubt. I know who I am. So keep going.
Yes.
I encourage you all to undertake your sadhana in a way that you understand, that you will do what you are doing. You will witness what you are witnessing. You will be aware of what you are being aware of. You will be aware itself without a goal in mind, without thinking you will get somewhere, that you will accomplish something. And the reason I say that is because you cannot both be being consciousness and your idea of being consciousness. The idea of being consciousness means you must do something. You must accept something about yourself. You must engage some tendency. You can only be that which you are, here, now, in this moment. And this awareness will bring up all these various kinds of tapas that we're hearing about today. The manifestation of fear, the manifestation of movement, the manifestation of self-doubt. This is the consequence of engaging in this intense tapas, of remaining here as awareness itself, as being, not as doing. So, carry on. All is well. Nothing to fear. All right, please, go in peace, go in love. You know who you are. Remain as this felt sense, I. You are being, consciousness, and bliss. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Namah Shivaya.